After 5 years of marriage, 5 years of being cheated on. By chance, I discovered my wife's shocking secret. 3 hours ago, I witnessed my wife Sue Sinew and a strange man entering a 5-star hotel in an intimate manner, and they haven't come out yet. During the 3 hours I sat in the car, my thoughts were racing, my heart was pounding, but I was as calm as water. It's not that I don't want to rush in and catch this couple, I just don't dare. Yes, I don't dare. Because 3 months ago, I accidentally learned that my wife was a killer. It's ridiculous. His wife of 5 years is a killer. He only now knows about it, and now he has to pretend not to know. My mind was drawn back to 5 years ago, when my parents forced me to marry Sue Sinew, and I was puzzled. As the only son of the largest real estate company in Hong Kong, even if it is not a marriage between well-matched families, he should still choose the best among them. But what people never expected was that Sue Sinew not only had a modest family background, but her parents had passed away many years ago, and now she was the only one alive in the Sue family. Is it because she is an orphan and is easy to manipulate? To this day, I still can't figure it out. Although Sue Sinew is beautiful and well-educated, she is not so impressive that my parents would want her to go home as their daughter-in-law. And he treated her very well after marriage, and even let her learn from him about the company's big and small matters. If this were not the case, his parents would not have died in a car accident 2 years ago, and the company would not have fallen into Sue Sinew's hands immediately. But to put things into perspective, since Sue Sinew took over the company, there has never been any major situation, and the company's performance has even increased. If it weren't for her hard work over the past 2 years, I wouldn't be able to live as prosperously as I do now. Thinking of these more than 30 years of dandy life, I can't help but secretly regret it. The good second-generation rich people have now become the weaklings, and they are still the weaklings of their own family. It is very ridiculous and sad. The deeper you think about it, the more it increases. Looking up, the figures of the doggy man and woman came into view. It was finally over, and I couldn't help cursing them in my mind. Sue Sinew was seen hugging the man goodbye reluctantly. She didn't slowly leave until he disappeared into the sea of people. It was the first time I saw Sue Sinew's reluctance to give up, and I felt extremely angry. I couldn't help but curse again. Doggy men and women will not die happily. Driving home, when I arrived at the door, I still felt a little hesitant. The person next to me was once a killer. Thinking of this word, my heart tingled. What if one day something bad happens to her and she murders her husband? The more I thought about it, the more scared I became, but I still went into the house. Sue Sinew came over gently as usual, helped me take off my coat, handed me my slippers, and asked with concern, "What's wrong? What happened?" My heart tightened, and I knew that I must have a strange look on my face. But she still pretended to be calm and replied, "It's okay, I'm just a little tired. I'm going to take a shower and have a good rest today." After that, Sue Sinew went upstairs. I breathed a sigh of relief. I had countless questions that I wanted to ask her, but I couldn't. Maybe it's fear, maybe it's escape. Lying in the bathtub, I thought about the past 5 years. Because I was forced to get married, I was very resistant to this woman. In the first 3 years of marriage, I always treated Sue Sinew badly. I only went home a handful of times, and I was cold-blooded and even insulted and spurned. But Sue Sinew has always been gentle and obedient to me, and even laughed off the fact that I had a lover outside. Now that I think about it, I'm really scared. Over the years, I have wandered at the gate of the palace of hell countless times. But Sue Sinew, who has always been gentle, now gave me a real cuckold. The more I thought about it, the more unwilling I became, and I suddenly sat up from the bathtub. I can't let myself down. I might die one day without knowing how. I have to find a way out for myself, a way to survive. Early in the morning, I sat in the living room waiting for Sue Sinew. She has a habit of running in the morning. When Sue Sinew came back from running, she was a little surprised to see me getting up so early for the first time, so she asked, "I woke up so early today. What's wrong?" I didn't want to beat around the bush, so I said directly, "I want to go to the company. After my parents leave, in the past 2 years, the company has been supported by you alone. It's been too hard on you. And I am a man from the Jiang family, so I should be the one to support it all." I said everything in one breath and observed secretly Sue Sinew's reaction. I thought she would refuse, but I didn't expect Sue Sinew to agree very happily. "Very good, you are willing to come to work, I am very happy. But you have to start as an ordinary employee, after all, you have no work experience. You will be employed as soon as you come. If you are in a high position, some people will definitely be dissatisfied. Sue Sinew is right to worry. Even if my surname is Jiang, I can't play airborne. The company's gossip can drown people. Facing Su Sinyu's kind arrangement, I was a little dazed, but then I woke up instantly. This woman was once a killer, and she took away people who belonged to my company. How could I be soft-hearted? The next day, I reported from Hongchang Yuanda Group. When was the last time you came to the company? Probably when my parents were still around. At that time, I was the son of a wealthy family that everyone envied. I was crowded with people who complimented me, and no one who saw me didn't call me Mr. Xiao Jiang. I used to particularly enjoy my status as the favored son of heaven, but now the company's surname should be Su, right? I couldn't help but sigh. It doesn't matter, sooner or later the surname here will have to be Jiang. I secretly made up my mind. I chose to go to the sales department. For me, this department is probably the easiest place to adapt and learn. How could all the real estate developers and store agents, big and small, give me a bit of a thumbs down? In fact, this is indeed the case. As long as you know that I am Jiang Yuanshao, the probability of the project being negotiated is extremely high. I don't know how much my own ability accounts for it, but I do work hard. After a month, I arrived on time every day. He even works overtime on his own. Many times I drag my tired body in the middle of the night. Go home and fall asleep. Su Sinyu saw all this. Maybe there's still some heartache. I'm just me. Don't know it all. Half a year later. I am the sales team leader. Except for that relationship. I'm really working hard. Many people don't understand. I thought the dandy was the prodigal son who turned around. But I don't know that I have a more important purpose. Destroy that woman and drive her out of Hongchang. Yuanda Group is my ultimate goal. During this period, I secretly hired a private detective. The purpose is of course to follow Su Sinyu. This real-life private detective did not disappoint me. I took a lot of photos of Su Shiyu meeting that man. Although I didn't catch him in bed. But for Chairman Hongchang Yuanda. Frequently tearing up strange men. And the intimate manner is enough to make people think about it. People of their class cannot have any scandals. These photos alone can become important evidence to drive Su Shiyu out of office in the future. I work hard to learn everything about the company. I have good relationships with people in every department. I gradually climbed up to the position of sales manager. Later, he was promoted to sales director. No one in the company voted against it. Everyone understands. My promotion speed cannot be compared with others. After all, my surname is Jiang. There are many veterans in the company that my parents promoted and reused. More or less, he still thinks highly of me. Plus most men don't want to. A woman gives orders to herself all day long. On the surface, he is respectful to Su Shiyu. Maybe I've already felt resentful in my heart. Impressed by these days. I know I can do something. Mr. Luo from Anjia Tianxia Real Estate, whom I have been in contact with for a long time, made an appointment with me today. Anjia Tianxia Real Estate Group is the second largest real estate company in Hongchang after Hongchang Yuanda. But it turns out that the two families are sworn enemies. In these years, in order to fight for land, fighting over real estate was fierce. But now it has become my first helper when I want to rise to the top. It's a bit ironic when you think about it. The two made an appointment to meet at a private villa on the outskirts of Luochang. After all, the meeting between the two. Can't let anyone know. The more private the better. Just get straight to the point of what the director wants to do. Bai Chang asked with a joking look on his face. I know my situation before the meeting. So I don't want to argue so much with him. The land in the north of the city where bidding will begin next month. I don't know if Mr. Luo is interested. This piece of land was originally something Hongchang Yuanda was determined to acquire. Su Sinyu stayed up many all-nighters for this project. But now it has become a bargaining chip for me to please my opponent. Ah. Hasn't this land already become your company's possession? I heard bidding is just a formality. Why don't you want to eat such a big piece of fat? Mr. Luo is not a vegetarian either. He knows I have other purposes. But facing this temptation, who can be unmoved? Just take this land. Anjia Tianxia's status in Hongchang directly rose to a higher level. It is entirely possible to be on an equal footing with Hongchang Yuanda. I can give you this land. But after it's done, you have to help me get into the position of chairman of Hongchang Yuanda. I don't want to beat around the bush either. Regardless of doing this kind of thing. That's too cryptic. Not much thought. Ha ha ha. Quite courageous. in order to drive his wife out of office. Don't hesitate to betray the company's interests. Luo Cheng couldn't help but laugh at me. I'm a little embarrassed. Yes. My parents have worked hard for so many years. Put in so much effort. Only then did Hongcheng Yuanda reach its current status. But for that position, now he has to betray the company's interests. Parents are clear, there is knowledge under the spring. I don't know if you will be disappointed in me. But when I think about that woman having sex with the man outside, it could kill me at any time. All worries disappear. Mom will understand me, right? I thought to myself without any confidence. How does Mr. Luo feel about this transaction? The location of the land. But the entrance to Changbei Business District. No matter what you see there, it's all a huge profit. As long as the follow-up development is good. The gap between the south and the north of the city can also be narrowed. I don't want to worry about so much. The director has a long-term vision. As you say. As long as we make good use of this land. For Qianxiu. Are you sure you're going to leave it to me like this? Luo Cheng still has some doubts about my sincerity. The value of this land. As we all know. The only real estate company that can rank well in Hongcheng. Who doesn't want it? The bigger the project can be. The more funds they need, the more money they need. They are the only two companies that can compete. Now, I am willing to give the upcoming project to myself. It really made him a little unbelievable. Since I came to see you today, I made up my mind. I don't want to waste time either. I asked Mr. Luo if he dared to pick me up. I was a little bit confused. As long as Su Shiyu can be made to step back from that position, it doesn't hurt to use some means. No problem. As long as the director is willing to spare his life. I, Luo Cheng, will accompany you. But I advise Director Jiang not to play tricks. Otherwise, I, Luo Cheng, am not jealous. Although I have settled down in the world, it's still not as good as yours, Hongcheng Yuanda. But I'm not afraid of trouble either. You know it. Rest assured. I have no interest in playing with you about this kind of thing. This is no fun. I just want to get back what belongs to me. I don't want to think about anything else for the time being. I really don't want to stay here for another minute. This atmosphere is suffocating. Okay. If so, I wish us happy cooperation. Waiting for your home voice. Brother Luo touched my wine glass. Take a sip alone. Seems to have one. After I'm done. Don't forget. What you promised me. I reminded. Rest assured. As long as I can get that piece of land, I'll take care of your business. Luo Cheng looked like a villain who had succeeded. I won't give it to Mr. Jiang. I walked out of the villa. Breathed a sigh of relief. I really don't want to be with this person for one more minute. So disgusting. I know Luo Cheng has this ability. Otherwise, you wouldn't have taken the risk to come to me. Among the important shareholders of Hongcheng Yuan today, there are several people who betrayed Gu Luo Cheng, probably because Su Xian was dissatisfied with this outsider. These senior leaders were unwilling to be suppressed by a woman at any time when they were in charge of the company. I also understand that men's self-esteem is always at work. Now that I am using the company's interests as a bargaining chip, I feel somewhat guilty. But if the temptation is not great, the person named Luo may not be willing to help him get that position first. There will be a way to turn things around later.